There are 5 AI skills you must have to get ahead of 99% of people in 2026. And listen, the people pulling ahead of you with AI aren't smarter than you, they just know these 5 specific skills that maybe haven't been shown yet. Well, that changes here in the next few minutes. And once you learn these skills and the tools you should be using, you'll not only set yourself up for revenue growth, but you'll also dig a moat that protects you from being replaced by AI. Right now, there's a widening gap forming between 2 types of people: the ones who are operating at a completely different level with AI, and everyone else who's falling behind and may not even realize it yet. Look, I've spent the last 4 years building with AI inside of real businesses, not playing with it. And the difference I keep seeing isn't talent, it isn't resources. It's these 5 skills paired with the right tools that almost nobody's even talking about. So let's change that right here, right now. Skill number 1, you gotta learn faster than everyone else around you. And I want to start here because this one compounds harder than any other skill on this list, and most people are doing it completely wrong. Most people think they just don't have the time to learn. What they actually don't have is a system that makes learning automatic. And let me share mine. Every single day, I pick one topic that's relevant to a decision I'm making or a problem I'm working through, and I say, hey, Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever, I've got 8 minutes. Teach me everything I need to know about this like you're explaining it to a smart friend, not a student. I want it to be conversational and real without any fluff. And then I hit play. I got my earbuds in, I'm going on a walk, I'm learning while I'm moving. And here's what makes it different from just watching a YouTube video. You control the depth, you control the angle. You say, yeah, I'll skip the basics, I know those. I want to understand where smart people disagree on this. I want to know where most people get this wrong. I want the version that's relevant to someone who's running a small team. It builds a custom piece of education specifically for where you are right now. And if you just did that every day for a year, 365 targeted learning sessions on exactly what matters to you, the people who stay ahead aren't just working harder, they build better systems. And this is one of them. But here's the thing, learning faster only works if the AI actually knows who it's talking to, and by default, it has no idea. That's skill number 2, and it's the one most people completely skip. Give AI a permanent memory of you. Every time you start a fresh conversation with AI and type your first message, it has zero idea who you are. It doesn't know your industry, it doesn't know how you communicate, it doesn't know your audience, your standards, your style, your goals, or the words you even use. So it defaults to something average. And average is not what you're going for. The fix is really simple. Build what I call a context document. It's one file that holds everything relevant about you, your role, your business, the problems you solve, how you like to communicate, what you care about. Think of it as like a permanent briefing that you hand to AI at the start of every session so it can hit the ground running like it's known you for years. And here's how to build it fast. You open up Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever and tell it to act as an interviewer. Ask you everything it would need to know to work with you at a high level. Then just talk. Use the voice of text. Don't try to type it out because it takes forever, but don't edit yourself either. The more you give it, the better it performs. Then ask it to turn everything into a clean single document and save it. Now, here's where most people miss. You gotta save it as a PDF because PDFs travel. It works on every AI platform, not just the one that you're using today. And whatever tool launches next year, you'll be able to walk in already briefed. Everyone on my team right now builds one of these in their first week because the difference between starting from zero and starting with full context, it's not small, it's everything. The devil's in the details, right? The details don't mean a lot, they mean everything. Now you've got AI that knows you, but what happens when you have this output and it just gives you okay stuff? Well, that's where most people stop. The ones who are winning, they don't stop. Here's what they do instead. They stop accepting the first answer. This one is about discipline more than it is about AI. See, most people get an output, decide it's good enough, and move on. And that's exactly why their work looks like everybody else's. Because good enough is what you get when you stop early. The people I know who are consistently producing exceptional output, they fight for it. They go back, they push, they say, that's not quite right. Here's why, try it again. And they stay in that loop until they find what they're looking for, and what they're looking for matches the standard they had in their head before they even started. It's less like typing, and it's more like having a conversation with a collaborator who's got infinite patience and zero ego. And you can tell it exactly what's wrong without it getting defensive or angry or whatever, and it'll adjust every time. And here's a practical tool that makes this sustainable. Inside ChatGPT, there's a feature called Canvas. and it creates a live document inside your chat that you can edit directly, like you're working on a draft that kind of stays stable. So once the structure is locked in, you can go in and change a word and move a sentence and tighten a paragraph without like the whole thing getting reshuffled every time you touch it, right? Most people don't even know this exists. So use it, the Canvas, because the difference between your first draft and your third draft is always significant, and your third draft is what people usually actually remember. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because everything we've covered so far has been about output, but the most powerful thing AI can do for you has nothing to do with what it produces, it's about how it makes you think. And that's skill number 4, and this genuinely changes your decisions. Skill number 4, use AI to think better, not just work faster. Look, almost everyone uses AI to execute. Write this, summarize that, build this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the execution is in the shallow end of what this technology can actually do for you. The move that changed how I make decisions, I use AI to pressure test my thinking before I commit to anything. And here's what that looks like. Before I move forward on something, a hire, a strategy, a new investment, a new direction, I give Claude or ChatGPT, whatever, the full picture of what I'm thinking. And then I say, push back on this, shoot holes in this. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Find the assumptions I'm treating as facts. Find the risks I've dismissed too quickly. Show me the version of this where it goes wrong. And I'll be honest, the response is usually a little uncomfortable because it finds things that you've kind of glossed over. The things if you told yourself that were fine because you wanted them to be fine. I did this before making a significant investment decision last year, and it surfaced 2 assumptions that I had 0 evidence for, and it changed the whole structure of the deal. Now, here's how you lock it up so it keeps working. Every time AI challenges you on something and the point lands, you write it down. And that becomes a principle, a belief that you now carry forward. And every future decision you make is now filtered through that better thinking. So it's not just like a tool for output, it's a tool for judgment. And judgment is the thing that actually compounds over time. So now you're thinking better, producing better, and learning faster than the people around you. But none of that matters if your output still sounds like every other AI output out there. So skill 5 is how do you fix that? And it's the one that makes everything else click. Skill number 5 is turn your standards into a system. And I saved this one for last because it's the glue that holds everything else together. So here's the problem with AI at scale. It's not very good at producing something. It's not automatically good at producing something that matches your specific standard because your standards live in your head and AI can't read your mind yet. So most people get outputs that are fine, they're technically correct, they're competent, but they're missing that thing that makes it actually feel right. And the solution is to get your standard out of your head and into a document. So you want to start collecting examples of work you think is exceptional, a pitch that made you stop, a piece of writing that landed perfectly, a product name that just worked for you. You got to save these. And for each one, you want to write down specifically what made it work, not the feeling, the mechanics, the structure, the word choices, the rhythm, the thing that made it different from 100 other average versions of the same thing. So over time, this becomes a reference library of what looks great in your world. And then you translate that into rules, actually written rules. Things like always lead with the problem before the solution, never open with a compliment, keep the first sentence under 10 words, use analogies instead of definitions, never use words that sound like a press release. So like these rules, they go into everything, every prompt, every brief that you give AI, every system that you build. And here's a tool that makes a scalable. Claude lets you build what are called custom instructions. It's a permanent set of rules and context baked into every single conversation. You write your standards in once, and from that point forward, every output is filtered through them automatically. There's no copy pasting, there's no reminding it every time, it just knows. Now your standard isn't just a feeling you have, it's a set of instructions that the machine follows consistently every time. And that's how you stop getting outputs that are almost right, and you start getting outputs that are exactly right. And here's what you've actually got now. A system that learns faster than people around you, that starts every AI session with full context instead of 0, that fights for the output until it's actually right, that uses AI to sharpen your judgment, not just speed up your work, and that turns your personal standard into something that's repeatable and scalable. Look, most people are just prompting. This makes you an operator, and the gap between those two things grows every single week. Listen, if you want to see how I'd take all 5 of these skills and use them to build a real business from zero, the tools, the exact process, the revenue model, click on the next video and I'll walk you through exactly how I do it today.